Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.
It's the After the Show podcast.
We don't care, we're about to swear on the air. It's the After the Show, so tune in if you dare. KVJ, get your skate every single day. It's uncensored. We can say what we want to say.
Yeah, here we go. It is the Tuesday KVJ After the Show podcast.
Should we do temperature checks? Rectally, of course.
Yeah, if you missed the end of the regular show in the 9 o'clock hour, Bird is feeling a little bit hot. We gave him one of them COVID tests, and he's COVID positive, so he is going home to sleep. And
he says he feels bad.
Yeah.
And he said, when he got here in the morning, he didn't feel great, but then he progressively started to feel bad. So we had Panda bring him one of those COVID tests from home, and sure enough.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's going down. So we're trying to be like, okay, now where are we in the world of COVID? What's going on? How do we handle this? It seems like it is pretty much 5 days out. In fact, we got Joanne that said, yeah, my brother just got COVID. He has to stay out of work for 5 days and then go back to work wearing a mask for 5 days.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And if you want, Walgreens still does testing. You just have to make an appointment if you want to go that route, but he feels like he has COVID.
Yeah,
so.
He feels like he has COVID, and he has all the symptoms of COVID, and he just tested positive for COVID. So I don't want to wish COVID on him, but I think he got the COVID.
Yeah, we'll lean on that, probably being something that's very accurate. So we feel pretty good that Jay Bird has got the COVID. So what we'll do when he feels up to it, we are kind of built for this now, that whenever he feels good enough to at least be a part of the show, he can. We'll just have to pump him in from his house. So he'll set up there like we had done when we all had the COVID, and he'll be back in studio then, I guess, on Monday. He'll be all right to return then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. But, I mean, we can pump it in. He'll be on camera and all that kind of stuff, too. So
we'll let him take today off and rest up, because he says he really does feel like dog ass.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that sucks. So, yeah, take your time. Go to bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Somebody had said, OMG, stop taking those BS tests. My husband works in the ER and says they are usually false, and the sensitivity on them can be easily modified. Sure. Yeah, we'll see how he does for a day, and he's not going to come back in here until he has a negative test, or not a negative test, but until we kind of get out of the woods.
All the symptoms are gone.
Yeah.
I mean, he's full blown symptomatic. I touched his head, and then I immediately sanitized. But I touched his head, and he was warm.
Yeah, he's got something. Whatever he's got going on, he does not need to be in studio. So.
Right.
We may or may not sort out what it is. If we don't sort out what it is, then he'll just stay out of the studio for the rest of the week and be plugged into the show. I mean, anymore. I mean, do you really care? I mean, if it's 5 days, that would probably go with the flu or a lot of other things you would have.
Yeah, you don't want to be in here for any of that and pass it around.
Yeah, if you've got the flu even, how soon would you want to come back to work? Do you go back right away as soon as you don't have a fever, or should you wait a day or two on that? Because people are also chiming in saying that, this round of flu right now is pretty nasty.
You should definitely, as long as you have symptoms, stay your ass at home.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to be around somebody who's coughing, sneezing, all that. It's no good. If you catch COVID or the flu or strep or any of it, it's no good. If you're symptomatic, stay home for any kind of contagious stuff.
Remy in the chat room is like, Kev's nose is running. That's something that's part of being the Bronc. Yeah, I have tissues always on me. It's just part of being Kev. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. My nose is always running. So, and if it runs down into my chest, then that's when I get the Bronc. So it's just the way God made me. So that doesn't mean I'm getting ill or anything like that. I've been doing that since... I was in my 20s. So.
But I appreciate that they're keeping an eye on you, Ralston.
They are.
Keeping you honest over there.
You will see me blowing my nose a good bit, probably about once an hour. I've got to blow my nose, but I was doing that. Go back 6 months, go back 6 years. I was doing the same thing. So it's just the way life is for me. Okay, got a bunch of emails to get to here today. We got Colton, who has a bachelor's in exercise physiology and health promotion and nutrition, to talk about Denny's pasta diet.
Oh, Colton. He sounds like he knows his stuff.
Bird was going to go on this, said he wants to lose 10 pounds. Is it a good idea or not? Jay was asking if I was buying or selling. I was going with the selling part of it. I just know for me, I am not great on a lot of carbs. And that was when I had tried to do the vegan diet and was eating more carbs. It just, my body started to bloat up and I just felt chubby. I didn't like it. But what he basically says is for any diet, and there are flaws with a lot of them, but normally you want to have a balance of 60% carbs, 30% proteins, and 10% fats. And those are good fats in your body. So basically, if you get more than 60% of your nutrition from carbs, then you will start storing it as fat. So that's kind of where the balance is, and that's why I was asking Denny's. Now, he's using the protein pasta, he had said.
Denny's is using the plant-based protein pasta, but Jaybird is going full-blown, like, regular Barilla or whatever.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem, because the thing that I was talking about is, you know, the concept of what I do, and I don't even know if I'm loosely around the keto concept, but I just try to stay away from, I guess I would say, the simple carbs and the sugars, and that's pretty much what I do. Like, I'm not completely opposed. They have what's called complex carbs. That would be your whole wheat, your brown rice, something like that. Every now and then I'll do something along those lines, so I'm not opposed to doing that. But the problem is if you spike your insulin and then you've got all this, you know, extra energy that is there, and if it's not being burned off, it stores it as fat. And Colton, in his email, was talking about the glycemic index chart.
Oh, boy, this sounds a little bit above our pay grade, Kevin.
Well, I'll try to simplify it. If you do whole wheats, brown rice, things like that, that's a complex carb, and that's lower on the chart. If you do Gatorade, candy, or white bread, white rice, i.e. white pasta, all that stuff, that's going to spike your insulin levels, and it's going to tell your body to store fat. So now you're going over your carbohydrate threshold, and your body's like, whatever is coming in here over 60%, go right to fat.
Let's put it right in your love handle.
So here's going to be the deceptive part and why the pasta diet might be really bad. Colton says carbs need more water to break down in the body. That's why a lot of diets state lose 10 pounds in 5 days. But what it is, it's all water. That's it. And Jaybird is judging whether or not he's going in the right direction by the scale. So what might happen is if he's eating a lot of white pasta and over the 60%, he's going to be adding fat but losing weight. You see what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, why does my body, I have no muscle tone and I've just got big, you know, paunches of fat hanging off everywhere.
Why am I so porky?
Yes. So you've been adding a lot of fat to your body, but your weight is less. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that's not really a good thing. That's why I never really use weight to judge my body too often. You know, I may look at it and be like, okay, I'll factor it in, but it's not the tell-all of where's my standing. I'm like, have I been doing things to build muscle or not?
I can tell by my clothes. I have certain things that well, just about everything. I put it on and I know immediately if I've been riding the Porky Pig train or if I've been
Sure.
being a good girl. And it's such a big difference in my clothes. I instantly feel it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can. And, you know, there's, I think a lot of times we may know about the size of what our rolls are. And you look down and be like, okay, that roll's a little bit bigger than it was.
She's fluffy.
Yeah, I really do the eye test a lot, and I can tell. I don't really rely on the scale because, yeah, you may have lost muscle, and it may be like Colton was saying, it could be a lot of water weight. I didn't realize that it uses the water to break it down. So that's why those diets, you know, they trick you into thinking that you're really, hey, great stuff. Yeah, you're losing weight, water weight.
But it's bloat, too. And I don't mind losing a little water weight because that feels good, too.
Sure. And some people do. If they've got a photo shoot or things like that, a lot of times people who work out and they go to a show, they will do stuff to flush that stuff out to tighten their skin and make them look more shredded. So that's kind of how it goes. So that's a thought there on Denny's pasta diet. It'll be interesting to see how Jay Bird does. But really, what would probably help is before and after photos, too.
Well, too, you know what else is a great diet? The COVID diet.
Yeah, right. Probably not going to be eating a lot.
Last time he had COVID, he lost weight.
That's all he needs.
A lot of people that I talk to say that when they had COVID, they lost a great amount of weight. Like my girlfriend lost like 9 pounds. And then she put back on 11.
Oh, dang.
So she was pissed.
Yeah.
She's like, why did I do that?
You have to start eating again at some point in your life. And
I know, but you can look at COVID like a little gift.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Let me turn this negative into a positive. It kickstart eating healthier.
so he doesn't need he doesn't need this whole thing.
You don't need pasta. Just let your body go on the COVID diet.
Yeah.
Drink nothing but Gatorade.
We got an interesting email here from Biscuit. Looks like from somebody that is not doing the pasta or COVID diet.
See, Biscuit, I can't eat you. You're just not, you're too carby for me.
Yeah. Well, Biscuit is talking about an interesting sight she had outside of her place. She works at the Chick-fil-A on North Lake. She said, just a little PSA to stay off the drugs. My girlfriend just dropped me off, and then she saw a butt-naked lady walking over by the Target near the pond. The person pulled over and tried to give her a construction jacket, but she wasn't having it. About that time, cops pull up and she puts her hands up and starts running and jumped into the pond in front of the Target.
Wow, that's a bold move.
Yeah, there she is right there, and her blurred glory almost kind of looks like a Bigfoot there from that photo.
It's a great picture.
Yeah.
She jumped in that retention pond?
Yes.
Ooh, girl.
How about that? That's crazy.
If a gator sees them loose titties, you're done.
You're right.
That's a lot.
Welcome to Florida, huh? Good Lord. That's some crazy stuff. I do have an email here about Bigfoot stuff. I don't know when Bert will be back in. Maybe I'll save that for him. Somebody went to a Bigfoot festival in North Carolina and then also asking about the one in Logan coming up in August. I got Joy. She said she was a fan of the Think Fast math edition that we did.
It was awful.
She said, I want to let you know that it was the best thing I've heard in a long time. I was laughing so hard my stomach hurt. We need more of that. Okay, there you go.
Okay, all right. If you loved it, we'll bring it back. But I can promise you it is going to have lots of dead air.
Okay. A lot of thinking going on there.
It's just silence while the brain tries to figure it out.
Yeah, every now and then maybe we'll bring that back.
I had a pen and paper. Bird and Denny's did not. They were just trying to go off the top of the dome.
Oh, okay. So you were actually over there doing...
I was over here doing math.
And that's why you won.
That's why I won.
Aha.
If I would have had to... I mean, they could have had pen and paper, too. I don't think they wanted to or couldn't find one.
Maybe they felt like that was cheating.
Oh.
And that wasn't how you play the game.
Well, we'd have been here all day.
Yeah, you don't think you would have ever gotten those without writing it down?
There's no way.
Yeah, it was an interesting experiment. I don't know. Maybe we'll do it again, but probably not for a little while. Let me see. This is kind of interesting on the topic. We were talking about things that you're still holding on to. It was people that are holding on to those bracelets from the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial and trying to sell them for as much as $5,000.
You're not going to get $5,000 for that bracelet.
Yeah, probably not.
No.
Probably not. But maybe it's just even a keepsake that you don't ever hope to make money off of. You're just keeping it. Just something odd that happened that you saw. Do you have anything like that happened in a moment that you're holding on to?
I have concert tickets from back when I first started in radio. From pretty much every show that we went to, back in the day. I've got Def Leppard. I've got
awesome.
Foghat.
Yeah.
I've got early Cowboy Mouth when they first started. Early Better Than Ezra when they first started.
Right.
It's just cool little keepsakes that I like. I don't know if they have any value.
I've done that too. You know, the thing that sucks is everything now is digital. So what about the new generation that goes to concerts and they scan your phone and there's nothing really to show for it?
You're right. There's no ticket stub.
Yeah, and the thing about the concert tickets, concert T-shirts now, you can always get those online. And, you know, when you got a concert T-shirt, it was a badge saying, I went to this show, because that was the only way you're getting them. Now, you just buy them online, and I think the one I'm having, this is faded, but this was a Johnny Cash concert T-shirt.
Okay.
I never saw Johnny Cash live. It's such a lie. So what is the special things now if you go to a concert that you do?
Yeah,
Other than you make your own video, I guess, but
It's all changed, Kevin. Times, they are changing.
there's not any good keepsakes from concerts anymore. Well, we had somebody, this is the thing I'm holding on to. I was at a seedy bar in San Francisco in 1994, and Anna Nicole Smith had gotten into an argument outside, and she came into the bar. So we drank and danced. She kissed me. I'm not a gay female, by the way. Anyway, we had plans for her to sleep at my apartment. She would take my futon. Long story short, she ended up being dragged out of the bar by her boyfriend at the time, but not before she wrote on a napkin, "Kiss me more, love Anna Nicole," on a napkin, and I still have it. And I'm not sure what to do with it. Fun night. She was very sweet.
That's just awesome. Frame it.
That's a really cool piece of memorabilia to have.
Totally. Get that thing framed with
Yeah.
a picture of her.
Right.
That'd be really cool to hang that on the wall.
Yeah, that's a pretty awesome little keepsake.
It's a great story, too.
No doubt. And people are like, what's that all about? You can tell them the story. It's a great story. Let me see. Other stuff we got here email-wise. Ryan sent this in. Said, I heard you guys talking about the high gas prices and people switching to electric vehicles. I was in California just a month ago. Gas was over $7 then. It's higher now. But here's my two little bits of useless knowledge. I was the main guy on an electric boat build, and I helped bring a company public. So yes, the battery-powered cars are super fast, very cheap to use. You pay for it up front, however. I'm not an environmentalist, but given current global use and known reserves, there is roughly 140 years left of lithium. And you should just see the devastation it takes to mine lithium. Talk about if you really care about the environment. The main guys are aware of this, but the wealth being made right now and the bogus beliefs they impose about being green makes it all good. I've heard that from a couple people saying that everyone thinks they're being environmentally conscious doing these things, and they're not. If they only knew what it took to give you green energy, it's not at all green. It's the exact opposite.
Really?
And they're saying then when these things fail or when they're done, they've run their course, what you do with the batteries and some of these cells that you use in solar things, you can't even dispose of it in America. And I guess it doesn't break down. And they're saying, yeah, it's a pretty lengthy deep dive. I haven't done yet, so I've only just heard some of the murmurings. I've not spent the time to really become any kind of authority on this. He says, I do know that SpaceX has ordered machines to mix lithium. It'll be interesting to see what they or others can do to figure out in the next decade or so. Otherwise, there's going to be a big pile of useless cars. So, on another note, after seeing certain parts of Oregon and Washington, if they ever try to make all drugs legal in Florida, please use all of your radio power to protest it. Washington especially is ruined. The immensity of homeless people smoking crack and meth out in the open is beyond depressing and shocking to see.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Fascinating stuff.
It's a real uplifting email. I'm so glad they wrote in.
I am. It's very eye-opening to me. I think it's good to know that kind of stuff because you get sold the surface on things and then you go along with it. And just like the sheep that we are, we're like, oh yeah, this is all good. This is where it is. But do a deeper dive. You need to know everything from A to Z on how this is done and compare it. Apples to apples.
I think it's just going to break my brain if I know everything bad they're doing to us.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And the lies and the manipulation for money.
Yeah, and I think a majority of the people they don't care. They're not going to do the work, and they're like, I'm just going to keep living my life, and until it directly affects me or I know how, I don't care. And so I think most people are like that. I'm kind of fascinated a little bit, so I every now and then go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, it does, and it's tough because a lot of times as you go down the rabbit hole, you don't know what you're getting that's true and what's not.
True, because everybody's got an agenda and a spin.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So you just don't know, Virginia. You just got to trust it. I do have some advice here. We're talking about water pick or flossing. Jaybird was asking about that. And Stephanie said, I just want to suggest looking into the water pick for your shower. It's a game changer.
Oh, water pick in the shower.
Uh-huh.
So when it squirts everywhere, it doesn't matter.
Right, because I was having that issue. It just was going all over the place. I'm like, this is a mess. And so I just hated clean up the entire bathroom every time I used it, so I kind of stopped, but I know I should. So that's something to look into. And another thing Jacqueline swears by is an air fryer multi-function toaster oven called the Ninja, and she says it's a game changer. Forget Publix wings. You can buy fresh or frozen, and 40 minutes air fry setting, it's done. You can season however you like. They come out nice, perfectly cooked, meaty, and juicy. You know, we actually have this, but we haven't explored. My wife just uses it as a bacon oven. She cooks her bacon in it.
Gotcha.
But that's what we have. We've got that Ninja. I'm not really messing with it, but man, if you can do good chicken wings in there, thank you for that suggestion.
Yeah.
I will take you up on that. Let me see. Engineer Keith has got podcast idea. I think Kevin seeks the kind of information that's provided by the Huberman podcast, Huberman.
Yeah, that sounds like his kind of podcast.
It's organized by month-long themes, 4 podcasts a month. The subject of the podcast is a scientific approach to health and wellness. It also provides usable tools and information based on real science. Okay.
Smartcast.
Yeah. I will check that out, Engineer Keith. Thank you very much for that.
I was listening, speaking of smartcasts, I was listening to Paris Hilton's new podcast yesterday.
I'm sure you get a wealth of great knowledge out of that.
It's her and her sister Nikki. And they are the laziest talkers.
Are they really?
I was
Oh my
actually
gosh.
just dying laughing in the car at listening to the low energy level these two bitches are bringing to the table in this podcast.
And how can you listen as a podcast? I would think you'd just be like, oh my gosh, that'd be so maddening.
Kevin, I was laughing. So they interviewed Anna Delvey. But before they interviewed her, they had about 15 minutes of them just talking about interviewing her, which was, it was going to be coming up any minute. Anna Delvey is going to be calling us from ICE, the detention center. What are we going to talk to her about? I don't know. What do you want to talk to her about? I don't know. I can't believe we lived in New York with her and we never ran into her.
So they're just talking the entire time about how they've done no preparation for this interview.
Yes.
See, and that's just why really not everybody should have a podcast.
I feel like Nikki did a little work. I feel like Paris did none.
Did they even watch Inventing Anna on Netflix?
Yes.
Oh, they did. Okay. So that was their research.
They were fascinated by her. They can't believe that she got away with it. But they know people that took meetings with her.
Yeah.
And the people that took meetings with Anna Delvey that they know saw right through Anna and said that she was full of BS.
Okay. And did they actually talk to those people, or that's just all they added to it?
I think one of them was Jared Kushner. I think
really?
They talked about how some Jared, is he in real estate? I don't know.
Yeah, his family is, and
Okay.
That's how he kind of got plugged in with the Trumps. Is his family? They build a lot of stuff. In fact, they doing a couple big projects in Miami. I think they are in the running for one big one in downtown West Palm, and he and his wife, Trump's daughter, they just built, and is it the Indian River Creek?
Yes.
That's where Tom Brady.
Yes.
Yeah, they just bought a massive place, or built a massive place there.
That's turning into like the zip code.
It is, yeah.
But
That's
they
where
were
all the
saying
celebs
that
are living
Jared,
now.
whoever Jared is, I don't know if Jared is that Jared Kushner or some
Okay.
other Jared, but Jared showed Anna Delvey some property and some space for her private club, the Anna Delvey Foundation.
Right, yeah.
And that whoever this Jared was immediately smelled BS and kept asking her for her financials to
Yeah.
say, okay, you have to prove that you could actually afford to
Right.
look at this property.
Yeah.
And the financials never came.
Yeah, that would be the thing, because you are going to deal with so many frauds,
Right.
doing that kind of stuff, that I would think after a while it would be the same thing in any field you're in. If you're an expert in it, if somebody somebody came in and tried to act like they were of a certain level. I mean, even in radio, people could come in and after a while you'd be like, okay, this doesn't quite add up.
You have to check them out, and they have to be
Yeah.
able to prove to you that they are who they say they are. And I don't know, it just sounds like some of the people that got duped by Anna Delvey, they're just drinking the Kool-Aid and just blinders on.
What is it? Was it actually a good interview, or did it just...
I didn't get to it yet because all I heard was them talking about it, that it was coming, and that was 20 minutes long. And then by that time I got home, I had to unload groceries.
That was all you got.
I'll go back today and try to listen to it, but I was having a belly laugh at how low energy Paris, and she doesn't talk in a baby voice anymore. Now she
Okay.
talks, and her voice is much deeper
Yeah.
and slower.
Down and low, yeah. Well, you know, some radio people are doing that now. I got a buddy of mine, and they're now kind of branching into podcast coaching because you've got a lot of people that might have a good story, but you know, this is where we are now. There's a lot of people that just given to their own devices to put on a microphone and do an entertaining show. They can't translate it to that. And you need someone to say, look, you've got to start and get to the point and let me help you out. Let me take your thoughts and your stories and let's put it in a way that
Craft
you can
it.
be captivating. You got a story I don't have, but I have a skill set in how to make your story good that you don't have. And so
Right.
let's come together. And so, yeah, they're kind of getting into that. And I can see the good business. It makes sense.
Sure.
Some people are just naturally good. They're entertainers and they understand you got to keep it going and how to not bore the shit out of people. But the
Paris
Hiltons,
and
clearly
Nikki,
she doesn't have that.
They did not sign up with your friend.
Yeah, no.
But that to me was what made it so funny.
Right.
Because literally, if you have the name, you will have people come check out your podcast.
Sure.
Now, will you keep them
Right.
entertained and coming back for other episodes? I don't know.
There's already a lot of celebrity podcasts that are dying.
Yeah.
That they've come out because people will give it, for the celebrity status, you'll listen and give it 5 minutes. And after that, if it didn't grab you, then you're never going to come back. And then it's just going to die out.
If you have 20 minutes to kill, it is entertaining to hear these two so deadpan. I don't know. What should we talk to her about?
It actually, we might have to grab a little bit of that audio just for a good 20 seconds of entertainment to hear how bad that is.
I can't believe we never ran into her. I know, right? And they're not in the same location. You can tell they're not in the same room, which does change
okay,
your
yeah,
chemistry
right.
considerably. When you're not in the same room with somebody and you're trying to have an engaging, upbeat conversation with them, it is harder.
Yeah.
It's just a different vibe.
It is, right.
And they're not in the same location.
Yeah, you have to send me that link. I'll maybe pull off a little bit of audio. We can play and laugh at that.
It's so good, Kevin. It's so
good.
it's so bad. It's good.
Let me see. Got Matt D. and the Pizzle sent an email. He said, today I found myself working in Mangonia Park. I decided to head your way. I stopped at that Circle K without incident.
Okay, I know the Circle K you speak of, sir.
Maybe because it's the middle of the day. Then I go to see the station. I think maybe he put Circle K and he was thinking about the racetrack because he's got a photo. He came by the station to see the monument. If you've never seen the front of our building, it's a nice photo, by the way.
Yeah.
Of the
They
building.
should use that as their profile pic for the building.
Yeah, it is. It is actually a really nice building. And you can see, if you're watching KVJ TV, that would be our balcony that we got banned from. So right on the other side of that's our studio.
That's the balcony from Pumpkin Gate.
Yes. So there you go.
The Circle K is kind of down the road. If you went to the Circle K, we don't go there as much. The racetrack is right out front of where we have to make a turn.
Yeah, Circle K, that's over by the old station, right?
It is.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
45th and Congress is the Circle K.
Okay.
But they're both entertaining. Both of these gas stations have lots of amusing lot lizards, lots of amusing people that are shaking you down for money.
They really are. Yeah, just 45th Street's amazing.
The homeless lady that was doing an opera, she was full-on opera singing the other day in the racetrack. I'm like, you can't pay for this kind of entertainment.
I think it's the second most entertaining street in West Palm Beach.
I agree.
Broadway's number one.
Broadway is solid.
You don't beat Broadway. There's no beating Broadway. Just drive up and down Broadway, and oh my gosh.
Day or night.
It doesn't matter when, yeah. Like right now, Broadway is great people watching. but 45th Street is a close second. So thank you very much for driving by. He's listened to the Great 48 in its entirety for the third time.
Wow.
Okay.
I've never gone back and listened to it. Did we sound like sleep deprived and psychotic?
Yeah, if you know what it was, we stayed on for 48 hours raising money, got $200K for the Bahamas when they had a hurricane a couple years ago. So thank you very much for that.
Yes, you guys did a lot of good over there.
Okay. Got a lot of emails. We'll keep getting through to them as quick as we can. Hopefully we'll get the bird back on tomorrow, at least remotely, if he feels up to it. We'll keep you updated with exactly what is going on with him. So you got COVID. I would lean on that being the official diagnosis.
Yeah, and he wrote us just a few minutes ago a text, and he said, I really don't feel good.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. I want to sleep. I started just feeling worse and worse throughout the show. So
Yeah.
he truly believes he's got COVID. He's got all the symptoms. So
Yeah, I would say it's pretty safe that he's got the COVID. So hopefully he'll take care of himself, and I'm sure he'll get better here quick, and we'll get him back on the show as soon as he feels up to it. So, all right, y'all have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Goodbye.
Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.